Hey y'all, I thought of something delicious that I want to share with you. In case you've never had it, you might want to add it to your Thanksgiving table. I know we have those traditional foods that are a must for every Thanksgiving, but this is something I think folks will really love. It's a different spin on a banana pudding. So this is a salted caramel banana pudding, and yes, this is delicious as the title sounds. The very first step I'm going to go ahead and get going is starting the base for the pudding part of it. I start with a box, the small box of instant vanilla pudding mix, and I pour it into here with 2 cups of milk and get that in the fridge. You know, it doesn't take long to set up to a pudding consistency, but I always start that. And in fact, on days that I know I'm going to be making this, I almost did that twice. That is a 2-cup measure. That would not have done very well. I get so caught up in what I'm saying, I forget to pay attention. But on days that I'm about to cook this, in the mornings, I'll just throw this in there, stick it in the fridge, and that way when I get to put my actual pudding together, this is ready for me. Let me just grab it out of there. So we're going to stick this in the fridge and it'll be ready for the next step. Next, I want to show you how to make the caramel. And I call this a shortcut salted caramel. If you've ever made caramel, it can be a little labor intensive, time consuming, and this is a shortcut. You're going to love it. This is half a stick of butter going into my saucepan, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup, and we're going to pack that cup so that we get all of it. I'm taking this to work tomorrow. There were a couple birthdays last shift, and I didn't know about, and so we're back on shift tomorrow, so I'm going to take this to work. Joel has told me, he said, April, you filming these cooking videos, we're going to gain 50 pounds. You've got to stop. So I just got to cook it and give it away. We'll have a bite, and then I'm going to share foods. And 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and you just stir until it's all melted in. You got to stay with this. Turn your fire down a little. My folks don't want a regular banana pudding anymore. They want salted caramel. As soon as that gets melted, I'm just waiting on the butter to melt. You don't have to cook it anywhere past, just melt the butter. This can of dulce de leche, that's your secret. I'm gonna pour this can in. And it's, if you haven't ever cooked with this, it's just thick, thick caramel. Okay. There's a little left in there. I'm going to save that for me for later. Anybody else like to eat the leftover from your condensed milk, your dulce de leche? I do. Stir it. Again, you got to stay with this. Don't walk away. Not for very long, but just stir it in. It's melting in with all that butter deliciousness and brown sugar. Now I cook this until it gets bubbly. When the edges start getting bubbly and it's not as thick, I really can't tell you at a specific time because it depends on your temperature and how high you've got your stove. Best way to describe it is I'm stirring and waiting for those edges to get bubbly. As I'm cooking, I think back on all the comments many of you have made, and it makes me smile. Nothing makes me happier than seeing families in their kitchen cooking, showing their kids how to do things. That is one thing I wish, looking back. You know, when you're raising kids, sometimes once they're grown and married and on their own, I think it's a normal thing for parents to reflect on their life. And I was 24 when I had Skylar, and we only had one child, and we didn't know a thing. But I guess nobody does. You just live and learn, do the best you can, grow together. But looking back, I really wish I had had her in the kitchen more. You know, when you're working and you're young and you're just trying to get supper done and you just want to do it quick and be over with it, and it slows you down when you're trying to teach your kids how to do stuff. I wish I could get a do-over and teach her, but spend a little more time intentionally involving her in the kitchen, and challenge your parents to do that, or you'll be me and 47 and looking back thinking, hurry up and have some grandkids so I can do that part, since I didn't do it the greatest when I was raising her. But you know what? She turned out pretty good. She's a pretty good cook, and I guess she was taking it all in. I did show her some stuff, but I think I got better at showing her things as she got older, and I realized, oh, your time is up, April. What you've done, what you've taught, it's over. And so I got to panicking a little bit, and there was a point in there where I was like, okay, sweetie, let me show you how. Okay, we're almost there with our caramel. Okay, you really can't, you're not gonna be able to see that. Ooh, that's hot and bubbly. Let me put that pan down. Okay, now, off with your fire, and in with half a cup of heavy cream. Now, your fire's off, okay? All we're doing now is stirring that in. And then a little salt. Almost had a hot caramel mess all over my stove. So, when you add heavy cream to this hot mixture, it's gonna bubble up, okay? So be careful. Now, this is not quite like making real legit homemade caramel. You have to be super careful or you will boil your pan over when you add your heavy cream to that. But this doesn't boil over quite as much. So we're just gonna stir till it is totally brown and all your heavy cream is mixed. And then I'll let it cool a little bit. It gets a little bit thicker. I'll let it sit up for just a little bit and get a little cool before I put it in that pudding. So we've got it all blended in. We'll move on to the next step. Okay, let's make our pudding portion. We'll start by putting in a block of cream cheese. I like cream cheese in everything. You can't go wrong putting cream cheese in something. A can of condensed milk in with our cream cheese. I did let that cream cheese come to room temperature. Actually, I didn't. I forgot to set it out early enough, so I stuck it in the microwave for 20 seconds. And you don't want it melted, but just a little bit soft so that you can mix it together and not have any lumps in your cream cheese. Mix that together until it is not lumpy. Now I am using this hand mixer intentionally because I had a couple people say, oh, I don't have a KitchenAid, so I can't do that cream cheese icing when I was showing the red velvet cake. So I didn't have a KitchenAid for most of my life. You can do anything with this hand mixer. The KitchenAid just makes multitasking a little bit easier and thicker things. So I would pull that out if I'm doing multiple things. If I'm beating egg whites for a recipe, I'll let that do it and walk away and do something else. So you can do all the things I'm showing you with your hand mixer. Maybe tell Santa you want a KitchenAid for Christmas. That'd be a great gift. So of vanilla pudding that I put in with 2 cups of milk, I'm folding that in. Container of Cool Whip. This is a small Cool Whip, okay? Not that big one. This makes the best pudding. So we're folding that in. Do y'all have this kind of mixing bowl? You need, this mixing bowl with a handle. It's my favorite because you can really hang on to it and just mix a lot better. Again, you could use that mixer. Here I go again, doing things the hard way. I get tickled every time. I have a mixer sitting right here. I could totally be mixing that. But, oh well, getting short of breath. So, this is our delicious pudding. We're about to layer up, and I'll show you the rest of it. Okay, let me show you how to put the pudding together now. I'm not putting this in anything fancy. I'm taking this to work. Now, I'm not saying that they don't deserve fancy. I'm just saying this is easier to use during the day. Get in and out of the refrigerator. And if I forget it, it's just a little plastic Rubbermaid. Makes it easier. So this makes a perfect 13 by 9 casserole dish. And I have a coworker who sent me a picture a few weeks ago, and she makes this for her family gatherings. And she had layered this in one of those pretty glass trifle bowls, and it was beautiful. So that's another good idea for your Thanksgiving table. Next is, so not a vanilla wafer. I have 2 boxes of these Biscoff cookies. If you've not had Biscoff cookies, you owe it to yourself. So you need 2 packages of them. You'll have a little bit left over, or if you want to just add them all, but you definitely are going to need 2 to do the 2 layers. So we're going to layer twice. I'm just putting these cookies in the bottom to start with. I like this better if it's made the day before and can set up a little bit. The cookies get a little softer, or you might like them to stay crunchy. And depending on your bowl, sometimes I have to crumble a little bit to get cookie all around the edges. This is a weird little shape bowl here. So just put cookies down in the bottom. Next, here's our salted caramel. I'm just gonna spoon. You don't want a thick, heavy layer on there. I'm just spooning a little bit on, and then I'm gonna spread it. So just a really light layer. There's no certain way that this has to be done. Making sure that I have enough for my next layer. And you see I'm just spreading it out. Again, not fancy. Bananas. And you can do ever how much bananas you want. In fact, for Skylar, she doesn't like bananas, so I do a separate one for her, or I do one end with bananas, one end without. You just have to remember which end has no bananas. So I'm just doing thin, and again, fix it like your folks like it. I like thin bananas in mine. I love the flavor, but I don't like just a big chunk of banana. Next is pudding on top. So spoon your pudding. Again, about half of it. You don't want to put too much. Just kind of eyeball it and be a judge, because you've got to have enough for one more layer. Okay. Guess what? More cookies. And more caramel. Okay. And bananas again. Pudding. I'm going to save a little pudding because I want to show you a special, I might not have enough to show you the special thing I wanted to show you. Then, just to add a little something, I just crumble some cookies on top. That's all. There's nothing special about the way I'm doing this. I'm just crunching them up. Then, I'm gonna just drizzle some caramel across the top. Again, just little swirls. Well, that was more of a dollop than a swirl. Can't go wrong. But let me tell you something special I did. So if you know how many people you're serving, it is so nice to do little individual servings of this. So these are just little cups. I don't know how many ounces these are. It is not a very big cup. It's just little 4 short glasses. And what you can do is, if you know how many you're feeding, I keep about 12 of these just for this. I have this little decorator bottle. I put some caramel in there, and I'm just gonna drizzle some on the side of my cup, just so that it's a pretty caramel going down the edges. Watch what happens. So I'm gonna crunch some cookies in the bottom of a cup. We're gonna layer it up the same way we did that. So I'm gonna put caramel on top of those cookies with some banana. Doing it just like that. These are just gonna be pretty individual little servings. These are special if you're just having dinner for a few people. And more pudding. And finishing touch. Isn't that gorgeous?